In the heart of northeastern Africa, where the Nile winds its way through deserts and valleys, there once stood a kingdom whose name echoes through the annals of history. That name? Kush. But what does Kush truly mean? The name Kush is believed to have come from the ancient Egyptian word Kais, which means land of the bow, a reference to the powerful archers who lived in the region. These archers were not just warriors. They were masters of their craft, feared across lands for their precision and skill. For the ancient Egyptians, Kush was a mysterious and distant land, filled with warriors, riches, and secrets. To the people of Kush, however, it was much more than a name. It was a symbol of strength, resilience, and divine rule. It was a testament to their enduring spirit and their place in the great tapestry of African civilization. Located on the fertile banks of the Nile, the Kingdom of Kush rose from humble beginnings, eventually becoming one of the most powerful empires in Africa. A kingdom built on gold, warriors, and a rich culture, Kush was not just a land, it was a legend. Its story is one of triumph, ingenuity, and resilience, a narrative that intertwines with the great civilizations of the ancient world. It would be from this land, this mighty Kush, that kings would rise to challenge Egypt, a kingdom that would leave behind a legacy of monumental pyramids, fierce rulers, and a culture that would endure for centuries. But what made Kush so mighty? How did it thrive, and why did it disappear? This is the epic story of the Kingdom of Kush, its golden age, its unyielding rulers, its mysterious laws, and the shocking collapse of one of Africa's most influential empires. Long before Kush became a powerful empire, it was a land of great potential, fertile lands, rich in gold, and a strategic position along the lifeblood of Africa, the Nile River. Here, early Nubian tribes flourished, learning the ways of the river and harnessing its power for survival. They cultivated crops, domesticated animals, and developed a thriving community. But something more was stirring, a vision of unity and power that would transform these early settlements into one of the greatest civilizations of the ancient world. It was around 2500 BCE that a new force began to emerge in Nubia, a force that would eventually challenge the might of Egypt itself. The first kingdoms of Kush began to coalesce, uniting under powerful, divine rulers who would forge a legacy that would last centuries. This unification was not merely political. It was deeply spiritual, rooted in the belief that the king was chosen by the gods to lead his people. Kush's first capital, Napata, was established near the sacred mountain of Jebel Barkal, considered the dwelling place of the god Ammonius. This mountain was more than a landmark. It was a beacon of divine power and legitimacy. The kings of Kush didn't just rule their people, they were seen as gods themselves, chosen by the heavens to govern the lands of the Nile. Under their leadership, Napata became a center of religious and cultural life, a place where art, architecture, and spirituality flourished. Napata's conquest was the beginning of an era, the 25th dynasty of Egypt, a dynasty of Kushite kings who ruled Egypt for nearly a century, restoring Egypt to its former glory. They didn't just conquer Egypt, they became the embodiment of its ancient gods, bringing their divine power to the land of the Pharaohs. The Kushite pharaohs were patrons of art and architecture, commissioning temples and monuments that rivaled those of earlier Egyptian dynasties. And the reign of Kush didn't end with Pi. Shabaka, his successor, consolidated power, while Taharka expanded the kingdom even further, leaving a legacy that spanned the Nile, from the pyramids of Meroe to the temples of Egypt. But what made Kush truly powerful wasn't just its kings or its armies, it was its economy. This was a kingdom built on wealth, gold mined from the riverbeds, ivory harvested from the jungles, and iron forged in the blazing furnaces of Meroe. The ironworks of Meroe were legendary, producing the finest weapons and tools that could rival any in the ancient world. The Kingdom of Kush didn't just dominate economically, it built a culture that left an indelible mark on history. The Kushite kings and queens constructed monumental pyramids, like those at Meroe and Nuri, grand temples, and towering statues. Their art was an expression of power, divinity, and a culture that revered their ancestors. Power in Kush wasn't only about wealth or military might, it was about law and order. The kingdom was governed by a powerful monarchy, with the king serving as both a ruler and a divine intermediary between gods and men. Laws in Kush were written by the king and inscribed in the Meroitic script, an ancient writing system that marked the kingdom's sophisticated legal structure. Social order was maintained through a network of officials who served as judges and enforcers. Justice was not just about power, it was about maintaining harmony between the divine and the mortal world. No empire is immune from decay. The Kingdom of Kush, once powerful, began to crumble under a series of pressures: internal instability, shifting trade routes, and the rise of a new power to the north. The fall of Kush was swift and brutal. The riches of the kingdom were plundered, and the mighty pyramids of Meroe stood abandoned, their stories buried beneath the sands of time. Though the Kingdom of Kush is no more, its legacy lives on. The pyramids, the ironworks, the royal tombs, and the scriptures still speak of a once great civilization. And as the modern world continues to uncover its mysteries, we are reminded that the Kingdom of Kush was a beacon of strength, wisdom, and resilience, one of Africa's greatest empires. This is the story of the Kingdom of Kush, its rise, its glory, and its fall. A story that deserves to be told, celebrated, and remembered for all time. If you enjoyed this exploration into African history, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. By subscribing, you'll be the first to catch our latest videos, dive into fresh content, and join a community that loves African history just as much as you do.